This January, Disney Plus is the home to new stories, new journeys, and new beginnings, with Disney's National Treasure Edge of History, as well as Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 for the older kids in your family. Months have passed since the events on Kamino, and the Bad Batch continue their journey navigating the Empire after the fall of the Republic. I'm definitely looking forward to that new National Treasure show for one of our Friday family movie nights to cuddle up on the couch with some popcorn. All these and more streaming this month only on Disney Plus. Hey friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kid Short Stories. If this is your first time, welcome to the family. We are the podcast that turns your ideas into an amazing adventure every single day. You know, we couldn't even exist without imaginations from kids just like you. So if you have an idea for a story, I'd love to see it. Check down in the show notes below for how you can submit your own story idea, and maybe we'll turn it into an awesome adventure. And parents, if you're new to kids podcasting, I want to challenge you to listen to podcasting for 5 days in a row with your kids. It's going to increase their imagination, decrease screen time, and we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Are you guys ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! Stefan roared as he zoomed his race cars across the couch and past his sister Beatrice. His cars hit pillow jumps and soared over blanket lakes and book walls. Beatrice grabbed a blue race car and began chasing him around the room. Here comes Beatrice in the blue race car, about to pass Stefan. Vroom! Stefan shrieked and hid behind the couch. Beatrice followed, toppling over, laughing. A vroom, vroom thundered through the living room, cutting through their laughter. Stefan looked at Beatrice. Was that you? Beatrice shook her head. No, I thought that was you. The sound roared through the living room again. An engine was revving really loudly from right outside their window. Stefan and Beatrice scrambled up to the windowsill to look. Their front yard was now some kind of enormous mud puddle. What in the world? And stuck in the middle, trying to escape, was a real race car. It revved its engine again, its wheels spinning and throwing mud all over. But the muddy race car eating puddle wasn't the only strange thing. Nothing looked as it should. The street outside was now a river, winding through tall trees and vines. From the window, they couldn't even see their neighbors' houses anymore. Everything was covered in bramble, bushes, and plants. That's pretty weird, said Beatrice. Since when do we live in a jungle? Stefan shook his head. I have no idea, but that race car needs our help. Come on! Stefan and Beatrice slipped on their boots and headed out the front door, pushing tall bushes and vines out of the way. A morning that began with playing with their own race cars in hand has now gotten out of hand and put a race car in their front yard. All around them were the sounds of the jungle. There were birds cawing, bugs singing, and monkeys hooting. The monkey sounds grew closer as they swung through the trees towards the kids. Beatrice, look! Stefan pointed up as the monkeys zoomed past over their heads. Why are the monkeys headed towards the race car? They hurried after them toward the enormous mud puddle where the race car was still revving its engine. They watched as a monkey landed on the roof of the car, while the next one swung a vine over to it. Together, the monkeys tied the vine around the car's bumper. Oh, they're trying to help, said Beatrice. She climbed up the tree and pulled on the vine attached to the car. It's too heavy to pull on my own, she grunted. No sooner did she finish speaking than monkey hands and tails appeared in the tree around her, reaching for the vine. They just needed one final tug when Stefan reached the tree top and grabbed onto the vine too. Plop! With Beatrice, Stefan, and the monkeys all working together, the race car popped out of the mud easily. Stefan and Beatrix had just returned to the ground when the driver stepped out.
Thank you so much, everyone. Without your help, I would have never gotten out, and then I'd never finished the race.
The monkeys hooted and jumped up and down excitedly in response, but Stefan and Beatrice were confused. The race? Asked Stefan.
Yes, there's a huge race car race happening right now. It runs through the jungle and the winner gets the golden trophy. Wanna come?
They both couldn't believe their ears. Yes! Shouted Stefan immediately. Stefan and Beatrix hopped into the back of the race car while the monkeys swung onto the roof of their house to get a better view. The monkeys waved to the driver and he nodded back as he hopped into the driver's seat. And off they zoomed into the jungle. The driver zipped through the trees, swerving left and right all around them. Stefan spotted elephants grazing in the tall grass and hippos wading in the river. Stefan, look! Beatrix was pointing out the window at a family of lions lounging in the shade. As they watched through the windows, they also even saw the car speed past other race cars. I think we could actually win this, Stefan shouted excitedly. They could see the finish line up ahead and, oh dear, there was one big obstacle in their way. They were headed straight for the river!
Hold on tight,
the driver shouted back to them. Instead of stopping or trying to avoid the river, the race car picked up speed. What in the world is he thinking? It hit a small hill right before it and jumped and flew through the air to the other side. The race car crossed the finish line and came to a screeching, muddy stop. They were the first car to cross and had won the race. The driver proudly held the golden trophy up high at the award ceremony. Stefan and Beatrix clapped and cheered loudly. When it was all over, the driver approached them.
Thank you, Stefan and Beatrix. Without you, I never would have run the race. I want you to have this.
He handed them the trophy. Stefan grinned from ear to ear. What? This is the best day ever! Thank you so much!
Of course, but don't get too attached to it,
said the driver. He didn't have time to explain before a monkey appeared and tried to grab it. Stefan yanked it back, and a piece of it broke off. The monkey unwrapped the gold from his piece of the trophy and popped it into his mouth. It's chocolate! Laughed Beatrix. She grabbed a chunk of the golden trophy too. Stefan looked down at the broken trophy in his hands. Sure enough, there was chocolate hidden underneath the golden wrapper. He giggled and broke off a piece too. Now this is a sweet prize, he said through a mouthful of chocolate. Wow, that's so cool how their imagination started of racing cars inside their house. And pretty soon they had a real race car zooming into their front yard, splashing with mud. Wow, I can't wait to hear the next adventure because although this is the end of this story, I'm pretty sure that Stefan and Beatrix are headed on to bigger and greater imaginative adventures. The end.
We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Wow, looks like we're already back to the show.
Great job, you listened all the way to the end, and you know what time it is. It's time for Kid Shout outs! I want to say hey to Ayla from Oregon, Jade from Ohio, Stella from Canada, Miles from British Columbia, Rosie and Max from Ontario, Canada, and Javier from Chicago. I'm so glad that you're all on the Kid Short Stories family. We could not have this much fun with imagination without you, my friends. Well, you have a super duper day, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye!
We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor.